Let me share a story about a former client who we'll call Mr. Roberts, who recently retired after a long and fulfilling career. Initially, he was excited about his newfound freedom, and he had a list of activities he wanted to explore. He talked about joining a local book club, taking up painting, and volunteering at a community center. But the most important goal he had was to finish his bachelor's degree, which he vacated during his senior year some 40-plus years earlier. During our initial conversation, he explained that fear was preventing him from fully embracing his retirement. He feared not fitting in, not being good at new hobbies, stepping into unfamiliar social settings. But above all, he feared not being able to keep up with the studies of the younger students. Welcome to my podcast on how not to retire, a psychological approach to retiring healthy and wealthy. Episode 21, Fear, a debilitating false narrative. I'm your host, Dr. Richard Himmer. Fear is an inherent human emotion that often stands as a formidable barrier to achieving our highest potential. Fear triggers a survival instinct at its core, compelling us to avoid perceived dangers. It is a defense mechanism built into the subconscious. While this response is beneficial in life-threatening situations, it hinders us in personal growth and self-actualization on a daily basis. Fear of failure is a predominant form of fear that prevents us from pursuing our dreams and ambitions. Focusing excessively on potential adverse outcomes makes us less likely to take risks or step outside our comfort zones. This hesitation leads to missed opportunities and stifles creativity and innovation. For instance, how many dream jobs during your career did you not apply for because you feared rejection? How many questions did you not ask because you feared rejection, thereby foregoing a chance for something bigger or better, a career advancement, or perhaps greater fulfillment? Moreover, fear of judgment or criticism from others inhibits our genuine self-expression. This fear can compel us to conform to societal expectations rather than pursuing our true passions and interests. As a result, we may lead lives that are not truly our own, sacrificing authenticity for acceptance. As a matter of fact, fear of saying something that someone else will be offended about is a huge issue in today's political arena. Now, I'm not going into that today, but getting offended is literally a societal addiction at the personal level, at the individual level. Perhaps we'll cover that later. So fear of this unknown, it paralyzes us. It prevents us from exploring new opportunities and experiences. The unfamiliar, in fairness, can be daunting, and the uncertainty associated with change can help us or make us cling to the safety of the box, the routine, the accepted, the comfortable. This is what we call safe space. This reluctance to embrace change can stagnate our personal growth and limit our potential. The sum total of what I've covered thus far is called anxiety. Anxiety is the process where one gets to experience the worst possible result twice. The first time is when they imagine failure, which is the onset of anxiety. And the second time is when they fail, which fulfills the negative self-prophecy developed in the subconscious that stemmed from the original false narrative that you're not good enough to succeed or you can't get that job because of. Fear also perpetuates a cycle of self-doubt and low self-esteem. When we allow fear to dominate our thoughts, we undermine our confidence and ability to take decisive actions. Over time, this erodes our belief in our capabilities, and it prevents us from reaching our full potential. For example, someone who fears public speaking may avoid opportunities to share their ideas, missing out on chances to influence or inspire others. And what do they fear? Well, they fear being judged because they're telling themselves something in the subconscious that isn't true. This is true even just raising your hand in a small group discussion. This is where brainstorming goes amok almost every time, because in brainstorming, we don't judge. But when everyone judges, immediately that idea that one throws out there is taken personal. Well, that's a stupid idea, is now accepted as, well, you're a stupid person. The impact of fear is not only psychological, but also physiological. Chronic fear can lead to stress, anxiety, and other health issues. These physical manifestations impede our ability to function optimally, and therefore we hesitate to pursue our true passions, our goals. When our bodies and minds are constantly afraid, we are less likely to take the necessary steps towards self-improvement and fulfillment. In the context of retirees, fear can significantly impact your engagement in social activities, in new hobbies, in finding new purpose, in actually believing who your identity is. After years of a structured routine in the job, a transition to retirement can be overwhelming. The fear of not being accepted in new social groups or failing at new hobbies can prevent us from stepping out of our comfort zones, leading to isolation and a lack of fulfillment. For example, a retiree might avoid joining a dance class despite having a passion for dance. Why? Because they fear they won't be able to keep up with others, or that they'll be laughed at or mocked because they forgot the steps. This same fear exists when going back to school. Mr. Roberts, in my earlier story, his experience is a testament to this phenomenon. His fear of not fitting in with new social groups keeps him from attending a book club that he was really excited about. He worries that his painting skills won't measure up, and now he never picks up a brush. He fears entering unfamiliar environments, and so it stops him from volunteering at the community center, the big three that he wanted to do. But this is the biggest one. He was hesitant to enroll in the final year of his bachelor's degree. These fears lead to a sense of purposelessness and a lack of fulfillment during his retirement years. Overcoming fear is essential for personal growth and self-actualization. One effective strategy is to reframe your perspective on failure and challenges. So, viewing setbacks as opportunities for learning and development can diminish the power of fear. Remember, mistakes get retakes. That's the principle of being perfect. Perfect isn't making no mistakes. That's perfection. We're not looking for perfection. You're not looking to be a perfectionist. Perfect means you get to make mistakes and do retakes over and over and over again. That's called embracing a growth mindset. This is proposed by the psychologist Carol Dweck, and she encourages us to see our abilities as malleable rather than fixed, which makes us more resilient and puts us in the face of fear that we can handle it. So we face it directly, head on. Most people run from fear, and that's why fear usually wins. So additionally, practicing mindfulness and stress reduction techniques severely helps manage physiological effects of fear. Techniques such as meditation, deep breathing, and yoga can calm your mind and body, confronting and overcoming fear far easier. Building a supportive network of friends, family, and mentors also provides the encouragement and guidance needed to face your fears. Sharing your fears with others can lessen the intensity if you share them in a problem-solving mindset. If, however, all you do is talk about your fear as the problem, you start playing the role of a victim, which exacerbates the fear, it intensifies the fear, and you start producing chemicals, electrochemicals, that compromise your ability to face fear head on. So, in addition to these strategies that we've just talked about, by setting small, manageable goals, you can help mitigate it and build some confidence. For example, Mr. Roberts could start just by attending a single book club meeting and then setting the goals for what he wants to achieve. So the goals could be something as simple as get 2 people's names, find out what their passions are, and learn about them and why they're coming to the group. So make it all about someone else. Takes all the pressure off of you that you have to be better than or smarter than or equal to everyone else. Make it about being interested, be a TED for someone else. There's a thing out there called exposure therapy. It's a psychological treatment that helps individuals confront their fears in a controlled and systematic manner. It might work for you. By gradually exposing yourself to the feared situation, the intensity of the fear response can be diminished over time. I propose in these simple things, so this isn't like holding a snake or something. You can literally go in there with a changed perspective of what you're trying to accomplish. Most people go into these social settings with an expectation that they have to be the star, they have to be number one, they have to be as good as everyone else. Change the perspective and change the goal of what you're trying to do. So, for example, if I'm going to a book club, I'm going there with the intent to learn about them. So if I start asking them questions, back to Ted and Ting, they're going to respond because it's really cool to have someone interested in you. So people are going to start responding to me. I become very popular just because I'm interested. It's a very powerful, small little step that you can move forward doing. So, for example, a positive visualization or a mindfulness technique, I'm going to visualize attending that book club. I'm going to visualize asking people questions. I'm going to visualize them responding to me in a very favorable or positive manner because I'm not judging them. The very thing I fear doing, and most people fear doing, there's no way I'm going to go and do that to them, but yet that's what we do. The very thing so many people fear is fear of judgment. Yet so many people then go ahead and judge, and then they get offended, and then they judge some more. Our society is so fraught with these addictions that we do and we take for granted because we don't even accept that they are in existence. We don't even recognize that they're there. So, in conclusion, fear is a significant barrier to becoming your best self. It inhibits risk-taking, it stifles creativity, and it perpetuates self-doubt and low self-esteem. By confronting and managing your fears, adopting a growth mindset, seeking support from others, visualizing what you're going to do, seeing the what-if proposal, what if I go here, and what if I ask the questions, you can overcome many obstacles and unlock your true potential. Embrace fear. It's a natural part of the human experience. Make mistakes. Give yourself permission. Give yourself the grace to make the mistakes and then do a retake. Okay, what would you do different here? How would you handle that? How would you ask that question? For retirees, addressing and overcoming fear can open doors to new social connections, hobbies, and it could even give you a renewed sense of purpose. It ultimately can lead to a more enriched and satisfying retirement. So in the timeless words of Master Yoda, fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger, which in turn leads to hate, which in turn leads to suffering. There is no need to suffer. Face the fear one step at a time. May your days be filled with light, shining on your ability to be your best self. You know what doesn't work. It's time to trade in the old process of being fear-based and adopt a new system of what-if-based thinking. A growth mindset looks for solutions, not problems. It discovers how it can be done and accepting what can't. Remember, don't try harder. Upgrade your processing system and try different. Until next time, may your habits harmonize with your purpose, leading to a life filled with happiness, joy, and well-being.